This meeting is called to order. Will the secretary call the roll?
Greg?
Here.
Ross?
Here.
Marianne?
Here.
Jim?
Here.
Kayla?
Here.
Lee here. And Phil is on Zoom.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
We can. All right, the minutes of the previous meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? All right, if there are no corrections, the minutes are approved. Let's go ahead and approve the agenda for this meeting. It was put out last night, and we've been able to see it, tentative agenda earlier this week. Any changes we want to make to the agenda tonight? Is Robert Hall here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm coming in on Zoom.
Okay, are you going to be coming to the pavilion?
No, I live in California.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll see how this plays out then. Not sure how well it will go, but
Hop on a plane real quick if you want me to.
okay. All right. So, any changes to the agenda? If not, we'll go with them as approve them as they are. So we'll go ahead and start with our treasurer's report, and we'll give this to Greg.
Okay, there's copies up in the front table there. One of them is the April 2020 through March 2021, the profit and loss, which wasn't complete at the board meeting from the last board of directors. So it's there now, and it's also posted on the website. All of these things are on the website. Okay, so as of March 31st, I'll give you that one first because we weren't able to do that last month. So our total current assets, $950,381.47. Total fixed assets, $561,049.85. If you want to see the expenditures for the month of March, there's also a copy of the profit and loss that will list all of them. Okay, for April, our total assets, $886,746.83. Fixed assets, $561,049.85. Total assets, $1,447,796.68. And again, there's a profit and loss that lists all the expenditures for the month on the table.
All right, I'll turn the time over to Jim for the Architectural Committee report.
Thank you. As everyone probably realizes, the CC&Rs are now part of, and have always been actually part of the Architectural Committee. So we have an approach that we're going to be undertaking. Basically, we're starting from scratch with regard to where we were. And essentially, what that means is Ross Stadnick and I, and we have a third member who is off island at the moment, who will be joining the Architectural Committee, who's very qualified. He's a builder, understands blueprints and so on and so forth. We'll be looking at the submitted blueprints for the Architectural Committee, or what's been submitted. So far, we have yet to receive any blueprints that were underway prior to the new board coming into place. So if you're one of those individuals who has submitted plans, please contact us. You may need to resubmit your plans or tell us where we can get a hold of them so we can review those. We'll do that as expeditiously as possible. Now that's on the Architectural Committee. As relates to the CC&Rs, we're going to attack the most flagrant violators that we see, and essentially what that means is there's some known houses that people have complained about. We're going to look into what we can do about that. I know the previous board had some action underway as well. We'll figure out what we can do with regard to that, and then we'll step down and look at other issues. People are rather passionate about some of the things with regard to the CC&Rs, so please contact us. That would be Ross, myself, or you can simply write the board and let us know what it is that you're concerned about. We'll let you know within a matter of 2 or 3 days where we stand on that, when it's going to be addressed, and so on and so forth. Ross, do you have anything to add?
I think one of the main things that I want people to know, we're kind of starting from square one. So far, we haven't had any records turned over to us, and what I've been looking for, can't find. And so we're going to be kind of starting at a beginning. So if we will be sending out some letters on some things, mostly it's clarification, see if it's real. If it's been addressed before and it's all taken care of, we just ask that you communicate with us, not get upset. But again, we're starting kind of from square one, trying to figure out what's what, since we don't have the files. They have not been turned over. So we're working on what we see, and we want to work with everybody and move forward. So. The fine structure was eliminated, the one that the previous board put in that was so outrageously high. We're going back to the fine schedule that was approved in 2017 and had already started. We do have that list of people that were addressed by letters and so forth. So we're going to pick up with there. That's one place we can start. And again, if anything has been done since you got letters before, just let us know so we can bring everything up to date, because we want to get it all to where it's fair, legal for everybody, all the same. We're not trying to pick on anybody. We're just trying to come up with a starting point.
Now, the thing that is important to remember is we have a list of violations. That's the list that we're going to be working from. So if you're uncertain or concerned about yourself, if we have any concerns, you'll be receiving a letter. And once again, if you've already addressed the issue, let us know, and then we'll erase that. Otherwise, the fine structure, as was put in place in 2017, will be imposed again.
All right. We'll go ahead and go with our Aloha Committee report from Marianne.
All right. Aloha Committee, we have met and have a draft. I think I'll read it other than going any further than that right now. Just to have a new welcome to the community for new owners. And this is the draft we've put together. Okay, so aloha and welcome to Leilani Estates. We think you've chosen the best location to live on the Big Island of Hawaii. Leilani Estates has an active HOA, Homeowners Association, along with a committed Neighborhood Watch program. You are now a neighbor and member of our HOA, the Leilani Community Association, LCA. The enclosed codes and covenants and restrictions, CC&Rs list, your responsibilities as an LCA member. The CC&Rs were developed for consistency as a way to ensure that we live in a safe, attractive, and neighborly community. Also enclosed are the current LCA leash laws for your information. The LCA bylaws govern the duties and actions of the Board of Directors. The CC&Rs and bylaws can be downloaded from our website at leilaniestates.org, or copies can be obtained by contacting the LCA office, Kim Falsetta, 965-555, or lca@hawaii.rr.com. And the location, of course, office hours, Monday through Friday, 10 to 3. Please provide Kim with your email, phone number for future communication purposes. You can also provide your contact information on the homepage of Leilani Estates website. As a property owner, you elect the members of your board of directors. We serve you and are here to help in any way we can. Please feel free to contact any of us with questions or comments, and we would be glad to offer whatever assistance we can. Welcome. With much aloha, LCA Board of Directors, and it's listed out. So this is our draft.
Thank you, Marianne. All right, we're going to have Michael Howaniel come up and just give us a report on the work he's been doing here in Leilani. He's our maintenance manager.
Okay, so far on the bathroom situations, I come in every morning and wipe it down thoroughly every morning, just to run that by everybody, just to make sure. I clean it every Friday, unless if it has to get done sooner, then I'll address it when I have the time to do that. Street signs, I have about 6 that I have to order. It should be in next week. I'll be putting that back on. I also made an inventory of the street sign poles that need to be replaced. This is all rotted out. I'm going to be changing that as well, same time I do the new signs. Currently I'm doing side arming. That's the shoulder, the side mold. I'm currently on Moku and Malama right now. I'm trying to finish that up as soon as possible so we can get that equipment into the shop. It has to be maintained. It hasn't been maintained for like years so far. It's a 10-year-old machine already, but it's still running, but I'm just trying to get it going before it breaks down any further. Scraping on the edge of the roads, that's my next thing I'm going to be doing next week. I just got a new cutting edge put on the front bucket as well, so that's my next task for the next couple of weeks coming up, as well as the side arming, finishing that. And I've also been doing around the telephone pole, sign poles and stop sign poles, spraying around there just to make sure it keeps all the rust back, so we don't get any more rot and stuff. Basketball hoops, I have still waiting on the hole for shipping. I'm gonna get that replaced all as long as the same as the light fixtures in here as well. But that's where we're at so far.
My question to ask you was side arming, is that something we do once a year, twice a year?
Yeah, that's a once a year task, but lately it's been going so quickly that it has to be done more than once. Yeah.
And you do every street,
Every single street, yeah.
including Leilani Avenue?
No, not that. That's a county highway.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for Michael? No? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go a little bit about the roads project for the recovery of the roads. Last week, Friday, I met with Bruce Myers from Okahara and Associates, and also with 3 contractors, and they came to the site to look at the various things that need to be done here. So we were in meeting for about 30-45 minutes, and then we went out to the various streets to look at those for the contractors. Right now, the contractors that will be bidding on the job are Glover Construction, Willocks Construction, and Loeffler Construction. So we have those 3 companies. I think one of them said, Glover, Loeffler, and Willocks. But yeah, I think it's Loefflur. That's in one of our emails. Willocks. Willocks. So one of their major concerns was the crack on Kupono, because it has been filled, and they're just not sure what will happen. They bring that coal planing machine, since it's like a 16-ton machine, and they're not sure what will happen. So that's probably the biggest concern they have right now, is that crack on Kupono. Yes, that's where the steel plates are. So the next, deadline in this whole road recovery process is that by tomorrow, any questions they have, they're supposed to have submitted any questions they have about bidding on the project and just kind of what kind of things we might need. Some other things that they looked at is a lot of the cracks rather than just sealing them. All three of the contractors felt it was better to fill the cracks rather than just seal cracks. Other than that, I think what else? Do you remember anything else about the meeting? That's pretty much it, right? Yeah. So what we're looking at is the bid deadline is supposed to be May 28th. All these things are going to be somewhat flexible. We found out we will need to get permits because of the amount of work they'll be doing. And so that's one of the obstacles to getting this road recovery underway. As everyone that knows, we don't actually own our roads here, and so we're having to work with the attorneys, and also Eileen O'Hara from Malamo Puna is working with us to try to figure out a way that we can get these permits without actually having ownership of the roads. So that is an obstacle. May 28th is the deadline for the bids. We're supposed to at least let them know by June 3rd who actually is won out on the bid. And originally in the RFQ, it's to start work on June 8th. But like I said, we're going to have to be flexible because I think things with the permits might be a big obstacle with this. As far as the road recovery project goes as well, maybe I should turn this over to Greg to tell us a little bit about the SBA loan. I'll do that, is that all right? He might not want to.
Okay, well, I think we got past the scariest part. The SBA loan did get canceled. And after Eileen was good enough to get a copy of a letter that was missing from the SBA file, so I got a better contacted him by email and got a response last week that they're going to sign a new loan officer to us, but it's a slow process because of backlogs. We're looking at 6 to 8 weeks to get an answer.
Yeah, so the way the RFQ is set up, they're going to be bidding on 8 separate things with priorities set on those separate bids. So that if it looks like they go over the amount that we have to be able to bring forth for this project, we can choose the most important things to get done. So, any other questions? No? Do we have any here for Neighborhood Watch to give us a report? No? Okay.
Fortunately, it's been pretty quiet in the neighborhood. We haven't had any disastrous things happening. So right now we're in pretty good shape.
Thank you. Any other?
The roadway, will they be milling out all the existing pavement or just so many feet this way and that way between the base section?
Yeah, can you say that a little bit louder, Mark?
On Kupona Street and Moku Street, there's a base section, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Will whoever gets the contract, will they be milling out the existing pavement, the whole existing pavement, or just so many feet before and after?
It's broken up into sections as to how much of the pavement is going to be taken out, and we prefer that they can mill it, because then the idea is to stockpile all the material just right here.
So they're not going to cut like the whole street out, say Kupona Street, right at the stop sign?
They're not going to cut the whole street out. It's just going to be certain sections.
Okay, just check.
Yeah. And then, like I said, the intention is to stockpile the material here at the end of the park down there, so that community members can actually use all that material. Because I know that's what the county did up here on 130, and it didn't take long for that pile to disappear. So that's what we hope to do as well. Not only that, it will save us money on disposal, trying to get rid of all that.
One more question.
Sure.
You have the speed hump on your agenda.
Yes.
Hi, Annette. On the new loan that you guys are getting, I'm trying to get, is that used for just the road? repair?
Yes,
Okay,
it's just for the roads.
okay.
Okay. We don't have any special orders tonight. We'll go ahead and start with our unfinished business or in general orders. I'll turn the time over to Greg to let us know of some expenses that have already been approved by written assent.
Okay, the only one we have right now is an insurance payment that we made on April 12th for our crime insurance premium to Brown & Brown in the amount of $1,460. So that was approved by email so we can pay it on time. Oh yeah. Also, there was one for the new sign, Leilani signs at the front that Jim did, and that was also approved by email.
All right, so we had Phil and Greg. You had some others. I think there's others in the community that helped work on the operating budget. We posted that to the website a little while ago, and I moved that we approve the operating budget as has been posted to the website. Any debate on that motion? Go ahead and debate. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a vote by roll call.
Greg? Ross? Marianne? Jim? Phil?
It might be back in that.
Kayla?
Yes.
Lee? Yes.
Also, good. Phil's talking. Sorry, Phil, we can't hear you. It's raining.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, Phil?
I can't see. Because my computer no longer working. It's not connected. Okay. All right, that was a yes for Phil. Okay, we've also gone over the procurement policy, and basically this is more to let the members know how we intend to conduct business as a board and how we intend to, I guess, make purchases and whatnot. So previously, I believe the amount was $2,500 was the amount. We decided to revise that and put that back down to $500. So that we can be more responsible for whatever we're going to make expenditures on. So with that, I move that we approve the revised procurement policy that has been posted to the website. Any debate on this motion? All right, let's go ahead and take a roll call vote.
Greg?
Yes.
Ross? Marianne? Jim? Phil?
Bill? Procurement policy?
Yes.
Yes, for Bill.
Kayla?
Yes.
Lee? Yes.
All right, with this next one, we can go ahead and take off the Calpini Street sign, since we already heard from Michael that he'll be taking care of that. And whatever other street signs are around the neighborhood that have issues right now. So, next item on the agenda is concerning the speed humps. And I move that we rescind the last policy on speed humps, and until we come up with a newly revised speed hump policy, determine speed humps on a case-by-case basis. Any debate on this motion? Go ahead.
With regard to the speed humps, I understand the proposal, or at least one of the requests, is for 3 separate speed humps on one of the streets, Kahukai. Are those 3 separate cases, or is that one case?
To me, that's one case. I think it was 4. I think we wanted 4 speed humps is what we talked about. Richard?
Yeah, just to clarify, there were 2 different proposals. So one was for 3 down at the end, and one was for 5 up at Marks.
6.
Anyway,
6.
So there was 2 separate proposals, but they're both on the common path. So maybe Mark and I need to get together with whoever.
So you were looking at 6 up there and 4 down here, so a total of 10?
No,
There are only 2 down this side. Yeah.
Say that again?
There are only 2 humps on from, I believe, Moku Street on Kaukai up to Kumukai.
Okay. So 6 altogether, is what you're saying? 8 altogether.
there's 3. I can give you, I don't know if you got the proposals that we did last fall, but I can give you the proposal again. It's one from between Moku to Komakai, and then one before each of the 2 stop signs. So that's
Okay.
Komakai.
Well, I think we're gonna have to review those again.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just let me know and Mark know who we need to follow up.
Okay. All right. So again, any more debate on the motion? The motion was to rescind the last speed humps policy that was put in place by the previous board, and to go forward on a case-by-case basis until we come up with a new policy. Any debate?
Just one question.
Sure.
Is the speed humps on Miley already purchased?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Yes. By the previous board. Right.
I thought they were purchased with private money.
They were purchased with private money, but then they were reimbursed by the board. And that have not been installed, no. They actually don't fit the requirements of the policy. Correct. So, are we ready to go ahead and take a vote? Okay, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Greg?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Marianne?
Yes.
Jim? Phil?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Lee? Yes.
Okay, with that, I want to make another motion. I move that along with this road recovery project that we get together with Richard and Mark and to find out exactly more about where we want these speed humps and try to have the contractors that are bidding on this road recovery project also bid on speed humps for Kahokai Street. Separately, yes, because it doesn't come under the road recovery project grant. Correct. Any debate?
Okay. Greg?
Yes.
Ross? Marianne? Jim? Phil?
Yes.
Kayla?
Yes.
Lee? Yes.
Okay, the motion has been approved. Moving on to the next item, subscription-based email service. Just a quick note, we have asked the previous board for their emailing list that they had. We have yet to receive that emailing list. And so we're working on an email list so that we can send notifications out to the members. And also we're hoping to get a newsletter started here really soon. So I am currently working on a list off of the membership list, trying to get rid of all the extraneous information that we don't need and just get people's names and their email address. That's still a work in progress. So I move that we look into getting a subscription-based email service, getting at least looking at 3 different services so that we can then take that email list and be able to send out emails to all the members. I believe the previous board used MailChimp, and so, but there's more information that I need to gather before we actually get that. But I want to move forward to at least so we can look into this so that we can do this as a board. Yes.
Does subscription-based mean people opt in and they can opt out? Or are we just going to use lists that we have and assume everybody's opted in already?
I guess members can let us know, but I would assume that right off the bat we would just opt everybody in. And then if they want to unsubscribe like you can with any other emails you get, you're going to unsubscribe. And then hopefully the intention is that obviously we keep that email list going in perpetuity so that all boards after this one can have that and also have that function already set in place so they don't have to start from scratch.
When we have new members moving into the community, we get a lot of information, obviously. Do we require or do we ask for emails at that time?
I would believe so, right?
No, it's not. It's on some of the documentation that is in, so it's on there. Okay.
So whatever they give us, I guess when they are members, because that's actually where I'm working with all the stuff is the membership list, and so at least all those members that have already given the email address. And okay. Marianne has it in her welcome letter as well. Go ahead, Lee.
Greg's right. I talked to Kim today, and there is no requirement to provide a email or an email address, but just a word of caution. If the county cannot get a hold of you, and we cannot get a hold of you, under the state of Hawaii's laws, we do not have to mail certain items out to you. We can email them. If we have to try to mail them. But we've had an incident already that I've checked onto with a divorce. And during the divorce, the emails have changed. They've never told us, they've never told the county, because I'm trying to buy the property out from up under. And I will in July of next year. But it's important that the Leilani Association have an email on how to get a hold of you. And send the newsletters out, get regular notifications. One of the biggest complaints we had on the last board of directors was no one knew. No one told someone. No one. This is the first time I've heard about it. Well, the reason is that the email list on the previous board was not up to date. So there's a lot of people that provided information that's no longer in the longhouse. It was removed. For whatever reason, it was removed, and now we do not have access to it. And so those people never got put on the correct email list. So during the election, we even had that. Several people, what election? Well, if you've got a bad address and you've got a bad email address, you're not going to find out unless you log on and look it up on the LCA website. So it is important. Thank you.
Okay. So again, the motion is to look into subscription-based email service, looking at least 3 services, and go ahead and get an email subscription-based email service so we can send out emails to everyone.
Greg?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Marianne?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Phil?
Yes.
Kayola?
Yes.
Lee? Yes.
Okay, the motion is approved. Okay, at this time, I'm not sure how well we're going to be able to hear Robert Hall Jr., but he asked to be put on the agenda this evening, and we'll go ahead in just a sec. We're trying to set up, I can't see anyone who's on the Zoom call, so we're trying to put the mic over by the computer so those of us in the pavilion can hear. Can you hear me, Rob?
Yeah. Let me know when that's set up and when all the board members can hear me.
Okay, we can go ahead. We're good.
Excellent. Okay. So my name's Robert Hall. I've had a plot in Leilani Estates for approximately 6 or 7 years. And what I wanted to discuss today is the viability of revising the CC&Rs to allow tiny homes, which are permitted by Hawaii County as long as they're registered with the DMV. And my reasoning for this is that I've been trying to build on my land for, ever since I bought it. And the issue with building on the land is that because of the current CC&Rs, it runs approximately $200,000 after talking with architects and getting estimates on building out the infrastructure for my land. And it's impossible to get a construction loan for that house. And it's also very, very difficult, if not almost impossible, to get insurance on the land. And but I've been still trying to build on it, even with those barriers. But because of the recent lava eruption, it's become a very high risk to build on the land, because if I'm, for instance, investing that $200,000 into my house, it's going to be cash that I have to pay myself. And then if there is another eruption or another event that does make the land essentially unusable or destroys the house, there's really no recovery of that money. And so I'm hoping that I share this experience with some of the people that have had their homes destroyed by lava. Is there really is no safe way to build on the land, given that there may be that money that's invested in the land may be completely lost and unrecoverable. So Hawaii County does allow for tiny homes to be built on the land, and this would be a viable option not only for people who do not want to risk losing their entire investment due to another event, but also people who have lost their land due to lava. Is that these tiny homes would be allowed by the CC&Rs so that people such as myself can still use their land for living, but would explore other methods of building the infrastructure. For instance, composting toilets, and also being able to move the home if there is another event that would threaten the cost that was invested into the home. So really this proposal is about exploring the option of modifying the CCNRs to allow the same regulations as Hawaii County does for these homes and modernize them based on the events that have happened recently and the barrier that I think a lot of people have experienced in just simply not having $200,000 that they can put on the table that could very easily be lost without any method of recovery. So my understanding is that this would be put to a vote by the Leilani estate members, anyone in current status, and so I want to explore whether that it's possible to get that on put up to a vote, or whether that would be something that I would need to gather signatures for, or really what would be the next step for us to propose a way to modify the CCNRs to allow time limit.
All right, is that all you had, Robert? Or Rob?
Yeah, I reserved 10 minutes, but I thought some of it would be
Questions?
available for discussion.
Okay, is there anyone with any questions for Rob?
Robert, just so you know, and this is also for other people that may be tuning in, I guess that's the right term, tuning into the Zoom. In any event, anyone who lost their property, there's 3 separate stages of recovery. So when you say there's no recovery, now it's taken 3 full years, but we're finally to the point where the county is administering to the people who lost their primary residence. That goes up until November, and you can recover up to $230,000 based upon the pre-eruption value of your home. So in all cases, the government stepped in and probably would again should we experience another disaster. So there would be some recovery, but 3 years is an awful long time. I just want to clarify that it is possible. People with secondary homes would be in the next tranche, and then people that just have lots, I think, is the third. But if you haven't yet gone on, if you're in the group that lost a property, you can go to the Kilauea Recovery Team. You can log online. It's the county administrator. Paula Pinto is in charge, I think, of the program, and they'll assign a caseworker directly to you to help you recover some of your investment.
That's excellent to know. Thank you for bringing up that point. What I'm proposing is that we remedy that kind of 3 or 4 year gap. Ideally, what would happen is if someone were able to move their home, because tiny homes are bound to a trailer and registered with the DMV, that 3 or 4 year gap would be able to be bridged by the person, such as myself, being able to simply move their home in the event that there is another lava event to a safe area. And then any infrastructure that would have been lost, for instance, like the sewage system, or the water catchment, for instance, that would certainly, the $230,000 would certainly cover that, but it would leave the person not homeless during those 3 or 4 years, or needing to dive into their savings in order to purchase another home. Or I know a lot of members in the Leilani estates have simply had to move out of Hawaii and back to the mainland during that time. So it would alleviate at least the burden and the stress of waiting for that recovery money to come in.
Robert, I have a second question. It has to do with the distinction between tiny homes and a modular mobile home. Are you talking just proposing tiny homes?
Well, the Hawaii County actually classifies tiny homes as recreational vehicles as long as they're on a trailer. So there really wouldn't be much distinction between tiny homes from what I'm proposing and someone parking an RV, but I'm certainly open to discussion as to coming up with the CCR modification to, if the concern is that people would simply be parking an RV on the property, that there might be some guidelines as to what constitutes the difference between an RV and a tiny home, but the DMV registers both of them the same. It's a mobile dwelling.
Rob, part of your research, if you can, I can't answer this, but several years ago, the state of Hawaii mandated that homes have to have 4 pillars, 3 feet down, 4 by 4, I think, on the corners. And I don't think this tiny home is going to fit that description. There's also a mandate that says no more cesspools. So I don't know how you would be getting rid of your gray water or black water. Well, I know about the black waste, but I don't know about the gray waste. But there is an issue of a lot of people are now being forced to do septic systems, full-blown septic systems. I did not know that they were permitting homes with the what do you call it, composting toilet. And then there's also the other issue is that Helco, the insurance company here, is probably not going to allow a hookup unless it's a fully permitted building. But those are some of the questions you may have to ask.
Yeah, that's exactly why I brought it up to the board is, there needs to be some exploration as to exactly what would, stay within the guidelines of Hawaii County. It's my understanding that if there were a composting toilet, that there would be some system in place. But again, this is just kind of in the early stages of the proposal. The main thing that I'm trying to solve here is that I'm stuck with some land that I simply don't want to risk $200,000 building on, and I want to find a solution so that I can live on my property. I've been paying my taxes and paying the Leilani POA fees, ever since I bought it, and I'm up to date with both of them. But at this point, the land is simply costing me a lot of money, and I don't have any way to be able to enjoy the land without risking essentially my life savings on building on the land. So that's really my goal here. I haven't looked into specifically what that would look like, but I anticipate that many of the members in Leilani Estates who have lost their homes would probably welcome that type of change to the CC&Rs. And we've seen that closer to Volcano as well, is that there are many tiny home communities that are popping up in southern Hawaii that essentially they're small square footage, but they do have all the amenities, but it's just being built above ground. So that's really what I'm trying to do here is I want to live in the community, I want to join it, and I want to see if there's some interest in allowing people to still use their property without having such a high risk and a high buy-in for expanding the infrastructure of it. So you bring up some great points, and it would be excellent for me to have either some assistance or an expert such as yourself on what the zoning laws are to really hammer out and come up with a viable proposal for us to be able to do that.
All right, any more comments from anybody else? Go ahead.
I would suggest that would be more of a project of research for him. It's not a responsibility of the association to do the research at this point.
Were you able to hear Rob?
Yeah, it sounded like it was requested that the research be done before we move forward. Anything else? Is that
That's pretty much the gist of it, yes.
That's great. Yeah,
Just because, as far as changing CC&Rs, as I let you know in the email, that's quite a difficult process, as you actually have to get 75% of all the lot owners, and that would probably most likely require a mailing out to everybody, and you have to get a minimum of 75% to change the CC&Rs, and I imagine that's why they've never been changed yet, because it's such a difficult thing to do.
Yes, I understand it. It's a pretty radical change, but it is a prerequisite to modernize the CC&Rs. What would you suggest the next step would be? Because I would like to make myself available to anyone who's also interested in this proposal to collaborate with me.
Good question. Anyone have an answer for that? Other than just the research first, that's the biggest thing. And county research, get onto the county, they have their code, and I can't remember which section it is. I was reading it the other night about the agricultural zoning, because you have to look at that and what's allowed and whatnot. And then,
how would you like me to submit that research?
Say that again.
How would you like me to submit the research?
Yeah, you can just email it. That's fine.
Okay. And I'd like to find out, if there is anyone interested in attending now, I'd like to have a way for them to get in touch with me through the Leilani Estates Poet.
I'm sorry, it seems like we're getting some feedback, so we're having a hard time hearing what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another good place, is Facebook is a good place to go to get in touch with other members. They're more on Facebook and Nextdoor than they are on the LCA website, it seems like. So that's probably a good place to at least get an idea of what you're looking at with other members in the community. And we have a question over here in the pavilion.
That's all I wanted to bring up today. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Rob.
Okay, what about those that the government wants to buy out, right, already, automatically? So if anything, they would know if those that don't want to be bought out, if they can help the owners to, like what he wants to do, still live on. And what about solar system? Will that work?
You mean as an option for Rob?
Yeah, for all those that wants to move back on their land instead of selling out.
I would imagine that's always an option to be off grid. I think that's an option for everyone here on the island, right? So, all right. I'll again thank Rob for bringing that to our meeting. We'll go ahead and open up for an open forum. Again, we'd like to try to finish this meeting at 7:30, even though it's about 6 minutes away. But do we have any comments from anybody? Or any questions? Yes.
I've got one being communication. I've written a couple of emails in since last meeting and haven't got responses yet. Secondly, the $500 limit on procurement without a board vote is kind of ridiculous, if you will, for a $1 million valued corporation. If a tree falls across the road and you have to call in Backyard Monkey or something like that, that's going to start at $600. Do we have to have an email board meeting to approve it before it can be done? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. The 5,000 was sensible. 2,500
this
absolute
day,
minimum.
it's easy for us to communicate with each other, and so yeah, I don't see any problem with doing it through an email.
Okay,
I mean, we can get
family
that cranked out in like
business,
an hour or two, so I don't see a big problem with that.
you run it like a little family business then.
Any other questions? All right, there are no more further questions or business. Go ahead. Marianne?
I'll be quick since we're trying to quit at 7:30, yeah? Okay, got 2 minutes. Okay, so a few of us have been pulling weeds on Friday mornings, 9 to 10 a.m. It's kind of a thing I like to do, play in the dirt and talk story. And I was wondering if perhaps we could put that on our calendar, anybody that wants to come pull weeds with me, Friday mornings, 9 to 10. Start small, think big. We've been working on the flower bed over by the pavilion. I'd like to work over by the banana patcher between the playground and the pavilion here and pull some weeds, maybe plant some more banana, kalo, And I'm wishing for a load of mulch, but that can wait too. So anyway, I'd like to put that on the calendar, if that's all right with the board. Thank you.
You have an LCA workday coming up?
I got it. Sunday, I'm having a block captain meeting here from 1 to 2. So those interested and those that are block captains still can meet here between 1 and 2. Then the following weekend, on a Saturday, that's the 29th, I'll be having a Albizia work day. Meet here at 8 a.m.
Okay, can you give us that information after the meeting and we can get that posted to the website? More?
I have a notice on the bulletin
Oh,
board.
okay.
You can
All
get it
right.
from there.
It's on Facebook and everything else too? Okay. Maybe I'll just go take a picture of it and then post it on the website, right?
Mark, can you explain, especially to the newcomers, what the issue is with albizia trees and why it's so critical that those get handled?
Well, as we know, albizia is one of the invasive trees that been growing throughout the island. Yeah? Not only albizia, we have a lot of these guinea grass. Also, they call it buffalo grass. That's spreading real fast throughout Leilani, throughout the whole island. You could find it only in Kau back in the day. Only in Kau. Now it's all over. But anyway, albizia is one tree that it grows fast. And it takes a lot of patience to get out there and get rid of it. I've done it a lot, Jay and a few members, in the past. So we have a special solution that kills it, and it's milestone, and it really works. Other people use this Clorox or other kind of chemical, but it doesn't work as good as milestone. Yeah. So we normally go out into the woods wherever we want to control, because we cannot hit it all during a day. It takes like 2-3 hours, and then we're done for the day. Yeah. So if there's volunteers, more than welcome to come on out on Saturday, May 29th.
All right, thank you. All right, with that, I move that we adjourn the meeting. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Anyone opposed? All right, this meeting is adjourned.